Welcome back. Muslim women are often portrayed as being weak and oppressed. We're about to meet a woman who defies that stereotype. Dr. Ryhana Dawood is a martial arts instructor. She founded Martial Smarts, an organization dedicated to training women in self-defense. Let's sit down and talk to Ryhana and learn more about the positive role that martial arts can play in the lives of women. Welcome to the show, Ryhana.
Thanks for having me.
So how does a doctor find time to enjoy karate?
So when I was about 9 or 10 years old, my mom put me in karate, and it was something that I loved to do. And I found that throughout my career and my education that it's given me a good balance in my life, and it's provided a place for me to stay fit while also having fun, and again, sharing my skills with others.
So how did you actually start getting trained in karate? Because I understand you started at a young age.
So my mom is very open-minded, and she believed that everything that the boys did in her family, the girls should do as well. So she put me and my 3 brothers into an after-school karate program at a local elementary school. And so we did that once a week for several years, actually. And it was actually a really good program because it was run by a local dojo, which means martial arts club. And so they sent instructors to teach us at an affordable cost. So it was really accessible for families that had a large number of kids or that just couldn't afford to pay like $1,400 a year to train.
Is that how much it normally costs?
So at some point in my training, yeah, I'd had to pay that per year to train. Again, you could train up to 7 times a week. So it was worth it at the end of the day if you took advantage of the numerous training opportunities. But if you didn't and you came from a large family, it was definitely prohibitive. So we continued on, and normally around green belt, which is like midway through the training, a lot of people drop out, and so that's when my brothers stopped, and my mom also stopped. I think she did.
Your mom was doing
she
it
trained
too.
as well, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so
okay.
she trained at a different dojo, but she just could not get a hold of, like, she didn't like the yelling.
Okay.
And so we normally yell in martial arts to. It's I wouldn't call it yelling. It's more of like concentrating all of our energy into our movements.
It's like when they hit something, there's a sound effect.
So we'll say things like kiai, and you just like concentrate everything and you focus right into that point. And so it's sort of us exhibiting that, but my mom just couldn't get a hold of that. She doesn't like the loud noises, so she stopped. And me, I'm pretty goal oriented, as you probably know, and so I would just keep going and keep training until I reached my goal, and which was my black belt in karate.
And how old were you when you got your black belt?
So this is a good question. I think I was 18, because I think it was first year university that I got it.
Okay.
And so because of the fact that I trained only 1 time a week for 3 months at a time, it really hindered my growth. But when I actually joined the gym at 16, when I could pay for myself, and then I trained as many times as I could a week, up to 4 times. And then, so at around 18, I got my black belt in Shotokan Karate. And then I joined Uma Martial Arts, which is a local Muslim martial arts club run by our head instructor, Brother Abdullah Sabri, who's like an amazing martial artist. He's like 7th degree black belt now. And he actually does ITF Taekwondo.
And what's that?
So it's another form of martial arts, again, stand-up fighting, separate from, so it's International Taekwondo Federation versus World Taekwondo Federation, which I don't do, which is mostly geared towards Olympic and fighting in that sense.
So Anna, how does your faith play a role in martial smarts?
So I think like Islam and being Muslim plays a huge role in my training and me pursuing the martial arts. The martial arts teaches you a lot of values that are also instilled in Islam, such as discipline, respect for yourself, for your teachers, and our body is an amana. Taking care of our body is a trust, right? And so it's our duty to work towards maintaining it. And other things that martial arts teaches you as well is how to treat others, which I think is a big part that's all about, like Islam is all about.
Well, I'm really surprised that you say that, because isn't martial smarts all about hitting the other person?
It's also about like engaging with the other person and, de-escalating rather than, so everyone always asks me, their first question is like, have you ever had to use this stuff to like defend yourself? And I don't think that's the answer at all. Like most of the martial artists that you talk to will probably be very, very like calm and like, laid back and not really wanting to engage with you because they know they can do it and they know what they're capable of. And so training in the martial arts for so many years really teaches you like to become one with your body, which I think Islam also teaches you. And so like my instructor, for example, Brother Sabri, used to be this very like angry man, and he'll probably get angry for me saying this, but martial arts taught him how to become like really like calm, whenever he talks to people, and he became Muslim as well, so he's a convert to Islam. And both of them together made him into this wholly changed person.
So do you find that elements of that sort of seeped into your faith as well in your daily life, or how did that work?
For sure. I think that the two go hand in hand. As I've said before, they're both ways of life. And I think that martial arts has really influenced me and made me into a more disciplined person with my studies, helped me allot my time more because I know that I had to train. And again, when I have to teach, I know that I have that coming up, so I know how to plan ahead. Time management is a whole skill, big skill that I had to learn. For example, in the Quran, like Surah Asr, it talks about like managing your time and like verily man is at loss. And so having the martial arts and falling back on that also taught me the same thing.
And do you think something like martial arts is important in this day and age, given I know we briefly talked about Islamophobia and the climate, you know, that recently there was an incident as well in London, Ontario with a man who was attacked because of his faith. So do you think things like martial arts are important for our community, especially now?
Definitely. I think learning the martial arts, learning how to defend yourself is an extremely important skill that everyone needs to learn at some point in their life. As I said before, it's all about the art of learning to de-escalate a situation, recognize situations that are unsafe. I do a lot of work as well in the shelters and with victims of gender-based violence, and just recognizing the warning signs are things that I talk about in my workshops, recognizing the places that are the most efficient to hit if you do need to get away, and realizing that your biggest weapon that a lot of people forget is your voice. So the first thing that I ever tell a person in my workshop is get big and get loud. You know, let people know what's going on, because you never realize how many allies you really have until you voice.
And what advice do you have, maybe for someone like me who has had for a long time wanted to do something like this, but I just never had the time, or you're a little nervous?
Yeah, I'd say just go for it. I think it's one of those things that you just need to get over that initial hump. But once you actually get into it and find an instructor that really works for you. I know some instructors can be a little bit intimidating, may not be the most approachable, but once you shop around, you'll definitely find people that are more willing to let you come in and learn how in a way that's good for you. So in my martial arts, I know this is a little bit of a plug, but where we have female-only classes with female instructors that are really trained, that are really geared towards helping the Muslim community get more engaged, and not only the Muslim community. I have people that were, for example, in my Fit Mamas boot camp that were non-Muslim that came out and had a really great time. So it's all about finding what works for you, but really just giving it a chance before you just say, oh, that's not for me, it's too violent, or whatever else.
So now you started your own organization. It's called Martial Smart. So how did that come about? Because you are still involved with Ummah Martial Arts.
Yeah, so I started as an instructor with Ummah Martial Arts in 2007. And it's actually interesting how I got into that, because one of my friends, a really good friend, was at the mosque, and she was talking to somebody beside her who was saying that her son's class was looking for a female instructor. And the lady was asking her, do you know any black belts? So then my friend brought me up, and so that's eventually how I got that job with Ummah. And so I started the East End program in Scarborough, and now I teach at 2 mosques in Scarborough. And from that, I kind of saw that there was a big need we're really affordable and we're really accessible to families, and we give discounts to families.
Ummah Martial Arts? Okay.
But I saw that there was still a need for female-only classes at different locations, because a lot of people can't travel to where you are. A lot of people just don't do well in a big class setting, and a lot of people don't have time to commit. If they're busy moms or busy university students, they don't have time to commit for several years. And so I started up Ummah Martial Smart, which is focused on female empowerment and physical and mental wellness through self-defense.
And how's the response been? Because generally speaking, you come from a family where that's encouraged, right? But generally speaking, it's difficult for. The reality is not every woman is, Muslim or not, I think, encouraged to do these kinds of things. So how's the community response been?
You'd actually be really surprised. I was really surprised because people are really for it.
Yeah?
And so when I started doing demos as part of Martial Smarts, but also in martial arts, people would come up to me all the time saying, you know what, like my daughters are so inspired by this demo and they want to get into it. I've had people just join my classes based on the fact that I do like a breaking boards demo.
Very
and
cool.
they'd be like, oh, I want to learn how to do that. And so it's been people have been really receptive to it. And through Martial Smarts, I've done workshops around the world. So I've worked in India with street girls, and then in Sri Lanka with, I actually did it at a Islamic school for girls that were underprivileged, which was awesome. I was there for 5 weeks. And then most recently in Tanzania, I worked with orphans while I was there on a medical elective. So yeah, people have been receptive to it around the world. I know with the rise in Islamophobia and in Canada and as well as America, I've had requests to come and do workshops after the Paris attacks, which were unfortunate. I feel that Muslim women felt unsafe, and a lot of different groups were asking me to come in and lead workshops. Campuses were calling me, so the MSAs at Ryerson, Western, and U of T, they all asked me to come in and do a workshop for them. And recently I ran a workshop in Flemington Park, which is a neighborhood where that young Muslim lady was attacked soon after the Paris attacks. And so they asked me to come in and do a Fit Mama's boot camp. So that was really fun. Yeah.
So you obviously cater your presentations to the target audience that you're working with.
Yeah, for sure. And so the Fit Mama's group boot camp was full of these ladies that had all had like 1 or 2 kids that were looking to get fit again, but also learn how to defend themselves. So we used martial arts as sort of a vehicle to achieve that goal. And we just finished up last week. So
very inspiring. I still don't know how a doctor has time for all of this, but we'll leave that. Where does Martial Smarts go from here? Because I know obviously you've started as an organization, you've come a far way, there's a lot of momentum.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about where Martial Smarts is going, and as I said, I've had requests to come to Bolton, UK to run a workshop.
Oh wow, okay.
I've had requests from Bermuda to come and do a workshop. There's a growing Muslim community in Bermuda, which I had no idea. And it all started out with me planning a trip there and getting introduced to the local imam's family, and so that's how it came about. But God willing, I hope that we can expand to have chapters on each continent. I think that's what my goal is right now, or at least have workshops set up in different areas that we can figure out ways of getting more women involved.
And do you have a website or information where people can contact you?
I do. So right now it's limited to a Facebook page because again, I'm a med student or doctor now, and haven't had time to really focus on that.
Enough.
But these are my goals before I start residency in July.
Perfect. So we'll put the link in. Thank you so much. This is a very exciting conversation. Thank you, Ryhana.
No problem.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.